training camp is more than underway, and the Chicago Sky will have a televised preseason game in just a couple of days on Friday. On today's episode, we're going to talk about what we've heard out of training camp so far and ask the question, is Rebecca Allen going to start for the Chicago Sky? We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And it's a lot of reason to be excited here around Chicago Sky Central, around the Chicago Sky fan base, because Chicago Sky are going to be taking on the Brazilian team going down this Friday. And guess what? We are going to be live during that game. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us, because this is an exciting time as the season is gearing back up. And of course, with the season and a new head coach, new draft picks, a lot of new players on the roster, it brings around a new energy and how this team is going to work out. And we're already starting to get details in regards to what to expect from the Chicago Sky team heading into next season out of training camp. And it seems like the Chicago Sky are going to be playing more inside out this year, and which is a little bit, I won't say surprising, but I do think it's an interesting thing for Tyler Marsh to do, considering that we did sign Courtney Vandersloot to this team, who is a really good creator and three-point shooter. But it seems like that the Sky are going to actually unleash Kamilla Cardoso and Reese's passing a little bit more this season. For those that were around last season, that was something big that we talked about a lot last year in wanting to see the Angel get a little bit more chance to play point forward, to use Kamilla Cardoso's passing ability as well on the inside. And it seems like we're going to see a little bit of that. Now, they're still going to trust their guards, as we do have better passing out on the perimeter, both Ariel Atkins and Courtney Vandersloot. But it seems like the Sky are really going to be trying to use a passing where the ball moves around a little bit more frequently. I know that there were a lot of people who rightfully so had a lot of love for Teresa Weatherspoon. I'm right there with you. But one of the things that I think we all kind of saw with Weatherspoon's coaching is that in the half court, the Sky became a little bit stagnant. Now, that was because of not really good point guard creation, not really good, we just didn't have the good fundamental offense that we needed to see. Seems like Tyler Marsh is really coming in and instilling a more motion-based offense that is going to be really good for the Chicago Sky, and that can do wonders for them. So that's going to be something I'm really excited to see what that looks like, with Angel and Kamilla getting more of an opportunity. Notice I said more of an opportunity. That doesn't mean that the whole offense is going to run through these two ladies, but that we are going to have more of that type of offense to take advantage of both these ladies and the high basketball IQ that they have here. And I think that's also going to put Angel in more position where teams cannot, they'll have to defend her even out to the perimeter if she has the ball in her hands, because of her ability to create. I think that's a really good wrinkle to add into this offense for Angel Reese, and that's going to be something that really helps kind of not only force her in a spot to use her offense a little bit more, but also defenses have to come out there and guard her a little bit more, right? So I think that that's a really important thing when it comes down to it, and that was something that I really got excited about hearing, and especially with Kamilla as well. Now, I'm going to say this, right? Kamilla cannot be as passive as what she was last season. That's not a knock on Kamilla. That's not hate on Kamilla. It's just simply put, like, we saw too much of Kamilla kind of now, towards the end of the season, she was being a lot more aggressive. I want to be clear on that. But there were times last season where Kamilla kind of just allowed the ball to come to her when it didn't really get aggressive in calling for the ball, taking advantage of mismatches when she did have them. I think this season, Tyler Marsh is going to try to make sure to try to force that a little bit. I don't think he's going to have to. Coming into the league in your second year, bigs especially do tend to be a little bit more aggressive. She's not going to have to worry about foul trouble as much. Will is going to hopefully be healthy for the majority of the season. And I just love hearing that Tyler Marsh is already challenging these two ladies, what he wants to see out of them heading into next season, and to get them a little bit more creativity offensively. That's what I think really has the chance to make this offense really, really special when it comes down to it. So that's something that really just sparked up my interest, made me really excited to hear. And for what it's worth, all 4 preseason games for the Chicago Sky are going to be airing on national TV, right? They're all going to be airing on national TV. They're going to be playing at LSU on Friday, which is really good. That's going to be airing on Ion, which is really good when it comes down to that. Then when you look at the regular season games for it as well, like the WNBA is going to have 14 on League Pass. But other than that, All the other ones are going to be on ESPN, NBA TV, or Ion. So you're going to be able to see a lot of Chicago Sky basketball. I know there's a lot of times where Sky fans were asking where to watch the game, having trouble and difficulty finding the game and where to watch it at. It does not seem like that's going to be a problem this season, whereas the Sky are going to be on a lot of national TV, which, like I said, if you join us on playback as well, we will be hosting the live streams over on playback where you can actually see the game with us. We'll be co-streaming over here too, but you guys can actually see the game if you're over on playback with us. If you don't have WNBA League Pass or whatever, we got a deal worked out. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us over there for that. But this is going to be like a great point here from Lilac. The WNBA learned from last year. They learned a lot last year, I think, in the way that to present the game and making sure that you're able to see some of the most favored matchups. They've learned a lot from that. So, hearing that the Sky are going to be on national TV a lot this season is really exciting because that's where the WNBA has really dropped the ball. Every single Sky and Fever game as well is going to be on national TV on ABC as well. So they're going to have the big stage when it comes down to that. So you're going to get to see a lot of Chicago Sky basketball for those that had trouble finding it last season. I think that's really good to look at too, right? Now, with the Sky season, right, some of the things that we've heard from the Chicago Sky that I want to talk about is that it seems like being a more consistent three-point team is going to be really, really important for the Sky under Tyler Marsh, right? We ended the league, I think, as the worst team as far as three-point attempts per game and towards the bottom of the league as far as percentage as well. We were ninth in three-point shooting percentage and last place in makes per game. That's what we were last year. So we only had a couple of players that shot over 35% from three. And this year with Rebecca Allen, with Rachel Banham, Ariel Atkins, those ladies here on this team, we're going to see a more focused effort to be a better three-point shooting team. And where that definitely helps at, right? So when you pair that with hearing that we're going to use more from the inside out, right? So Angel and Kamilla are going to have more responsibility to create than what they had last year. You still have creation from Courtney Vandersloot out on the perimeter. Make no mistake, Haley Van Lith can create her own shot, right? We'll see what she can do as far as creating for others. This Sky team is going to be trying to modernize their offense to where they are taking more three-point shots and hitting them at a better way. What that does is that's going to create more space for Kamilla and Angel to go to work in the mid-range and down low. Angel's already talked about her stepping her game up this year, being surrounded by players that all support her, and they all have a similar goal. Angel stepping up as a mid-range shooter this year. We've seen it. We know that she can do it. She just has to do it consistently. That field goal percentage going up for Angel with better three-point shooting as well. You better stay locked in. This Sky team could have the chance to go from a offense to a really three-level offense when it comes down to. Now, the bench production offensively is still a little bit of question here for the Chicago Sky. That's where Haley Van Lith is going to come in at. I think if Haley can have a really good productive season scoring off the bench, not just to say you want to put that all on a rookie. You don't want to put that all on a rookie. I'm just saying that how Haley grows this season is really could take the Sky's bench scoring to an all new height if she really actually finds her path and her way and her rhythm there, right? We got Rachel Banham, who's going to be a solid shooter. Will coming off the bench is going to be really big as far as with the rebounds and second chance points and those type of things. Mariah Jefferson, Rebecca Allen, they're going to be important too. We'll talk about Rebecca Allen in a second because I think Rebecca actually has a pretty damn good chance to start here for the Chicago Sky team. But love hearing that this team is going to have a focused effort to be more of a three-point shooting team this year. And I also already talked about Kamilla and Angel having more responsibility to create a little bit more. But I think the Courtney Vandersloot, Kamilla Cardoso pairing is going to be a really big one, right? Bringing Vandersloot back to this team means that you have somebody who is one of the smartest pick and roll players in the entire league. I don't care what her age is. I don't care what percentages she's shooting. When you look at her decision-making coming off pick and rolls, picking pops with her bigs, she's very creative and has always been one of the best at that, right? So with Vandersloot and her ability to drive to the basket, despite being 5'8", right? Having a big like Kamilla Cardoso and Angel Reese for that matter, because we're still going to see some of Angel as the big out there on the court too. And I think that that pick and roll with Courtney, with Vandersloot and Angel is going to be really important too, especially if Angel gets that mid-range game going. Sluty is going to be a very big, important part of this, right? When you look at Sloot playing with Jonquel Jones last year, I'm not saying that Angel or Kamilla are at Jonquel Jones level yet. Not saying that, but I think you can implement a similar style offense when it comes down to that, right? So you're gonna have to figure out how to get those ladies involved. And I think you got the perfect lady in Courtney Vandersloot to bring all that together for the Chicago Sky, and that's gonna get your bigs more involved in it as well. I think that's gonna be really big in the case of that. Um, let's see, we got Levante in the building. It says bench point guard Van Lee, shooting guard Allen. No, see that's the thing. I don't think Van Lith is going to necessarily play a lot of point guard right away, but we can see. We'll see with that. But the hold off, because I think Rebecca Allen is actually probably going to start for this team, and I'll explain why in a second, right? Rachel and Mo must go. They're not going nowhere. They're not going nowhere at the start of the season. This team was desperate for a true point guard last year. Sloot signing was perfect. Exactly. And especially because they didn't end up getting a point guard in the draft, it was definitely perfect. If HVLs are better than our best point guard last season, Lindsey Allen, that's already a win. First of all, don't let's not crap on Lindsey Allen too much, man. Come on, man. She did the best she can. She's a really solid defensive passing point guard that's really inconsistent with her shots, right? But it is what it is. Flaccavelli says shot looking smoother too. For Angel, I guess is who you're talking about there. I agree with that one. I definitely agree with that one, right? I switched Nurse for Michaela. Well, that brings us into our next topic, right? Tyler Marsh has talked a lot about Rebecca Allen so far in training camp as well. And I do think that we are probably looking at a situation where Rebecca Allen may be the starting small forward for the Sky next year. And here's why, right? I think the combination of size that she brings, she is a two-way player. She's solid defensively, and we know that she can sling that thing as far as from the three-point. That's a weird way to phrase that. That was a pause. That was a pause. But I love you guys. I'm going to keep rolling with it. But the way that Rebecca Allen can shoot that thing, is that still a pause? Is shoot that thing a pause? It may be a pause, but I'm rolling with it. But the way that Rebecca Allen has the two-way ability, and that's something that Tyler Marsh has talked really favorably about at 6'2", 162 pounds. I know she's typically played guard, but I think on this team, she can play a little bit of small forward. And Tyler Marsh's kind of comments have pointed to that maybe Rebecca Allen is the one that you're going to see be the starting small forward for this team. And I think with her size at 6'2", you're not really playing down, right? You're not really playing down. At times last year, we were playing guards at small forward and those type of things. And I think Rebecca Allen is just a little bit more of a finished player around the bucket and in being able to play off players like Courtney Vandersloot and things like that. I think that's really what it's going to come down to. The defense that she brings, and the shot making as well, may be the difference there. That may be the difference there. Again, we'll see what happens. Not saying for 100% certain. You never know as things go on with this, right? But I think when you hear the quotes like Beck is versatile wing and legitimate two-way player. She's terrific link and is proven threat from beyond the arc in our league. We cannot wait to welcome Beck to Skytown, right? And when you look at trying to get more three-point shooting, right, and her joining this roster and the way that she's been able to shoot the rock over the course of her WNBA career, Rebecca Allen has just as good of a chance as anybody else at being that starting small forward for the team, especially when you have Angel and Kamilla as your starting 4 and 5. You want as much spacing as possible out there, right? And Rebecca Allen is a career 39% three-point shooter, taking 5 of them per game. Last year with Phoenix, Rebecca Allen took 7 3-pointers per game and hit that at a 42% clip. That is, I think, what could push Rebecca Allen to being that player that starts at small forward for the Chicago Sky, in my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. But, we'll see how Tyler Marsh ends up looking at that and how that ends up going, right? As you guys are laughing at my jokes. Angelica says they can't afford to buy no Jefferson or Rachel Banham out of their guaranteed contracts and still sign more than 2 players. Agreed. 100% agree with you on that one. Beck Allen as a starter makes more sense. Nurse is inconsistent. Agree with you there. I 100% agree with you there on that one. Do you think this team, in your honest opinion, sir, can make the playoffs this year? Yeah, I think that they can. I'm not saying that they're going to come in and march in with a top 3 seed or anything, but I do think that they can fight and compete. You got to look at it last year. Before the injuries, the major injuries we had down the stretch of the season, the Sky were on pace to make the playoffs last year. And that was without having a really good point guard. That's with having terrible three-point shooting, right? Not having really good production off the bench. We fixed a lot of those things, not to where they're top of the league, but we saw them to where they're not as much of a negative as what they were last year. So I do think that this team has an opportunity to to make the playoffs next year. I think that you definitely got to stay healthy, but I definitely think this team has a chance to make the playoffs. Are you worried about Miller not playing up against WNBA competition this offseason like Angel did? No, because typically that, like, let's be clear here. Unrivaled, this was the first year in Unrivaled. Players work against pads and improve their game. So no, I'm not worried about her working overseas. Let's not act like that level of competition. There's some real competition over there. Kamilla's a dog, and she cares more about basketball than just about anything else. She is committed to the game of basketball. I think she's gonna be fine. I think she's gonna be fine. Facts, Joe Mama. Joe Mama. We got guards who can actually throw her some proper entry. Man, listen, the inability last season to make consistent entry passes was one of the most frustrating things about the Chicago Sky offense, right? So now that you've gotten much better in that regard, I do think that now you can have a great chance to kind of work on some of those things for sure. How about starting sometimes a lineup with 4 shooters and Angel playing the 5? You're not going to do that because Kamilla's your starting 5. This team is fully committed and should be committed to Angel Reese being your starting 5. Now, here's the thing. Could you see some lineups with Angel out there with 4 shooters? Yeah. But we don't really have, we have shooters, but we have players that can shoot. We don't really have, I think, 4 straight up shooters yet. But I do think you can see some of that for sure. So yeah, they can buy them out. Sky have plenty of money. No, they can't buy them out. Sky, this is different in the W. It's not just about you having the money. It's also about how that affects your cap space. Buying out players just doesn't. That doesn't take it off the cap, my brother. WNBA rookie for Sky is going to have a great year. You're honest, but Brian, is that the only way you know? Do you got to end everything on my honest opinion, sir? Like we're not formal around here. This ain't ESPN. Chill out. Release. Hey, say, hey, Hayes, what you think about Haley Van List season, motherfucker? Like, it's okay. You can let it out here. Like, let's chill. We're not gonna make this too formal. That's not what Chicago Sky Central is built upon, my boy. No, I think Haley's gonna have every opportunity. I do think that adjusting to the physicality, the consistent physicality, because it's physical in women's college basketball too, but it's not as consistently physical. It's going to be a big telling to that, how she adjusts to that. But Haley Van Lith is a dog, and I mean that in the best way possible. She's going to eventually figure it out. She's definitely going to figure it out. Speaking of entry passes, I still salty the sky pass on Serena Sundell. I've accepted it now, though. I mean, you listen. I think me and Siva were both surprised by that as well. But listen, they made their bet. This is the roster that they decided to bet on, and we got to see what's going to come out of that. I think the Sky also took a calculated risk, right? They have every opportunity to add a point guard in next year's draft because they have the Connecticut Sun pick, which the way that the Sun roster is looking, is probably going to be a pretty solid pick. So we'll see. Do you think Angel Reese has to prove herself this year on the basketball team with the prove herself? I mean, I think every season's proving yourself that you can do it, right? I think that in that sense, but she's going to have every opportunity. Every opportunity. He's probably new Hayes. Wait till he hears you call out nonsense. Exactly. Oh, Brian, you don't have to apologize, bro. We're just having fun. Like, I just want to make sure, because I noticed that you're new. We have fun here. We're family here, right? We're not this stuck up formal. Like, I don't work for ESPN. I don't work for CHGO. I don't work for 670 The Score. I created all this, right? This is me, and I'm getting my sky signs on its way. Don't worry, the sky will be right up here in the middle. But like, I created all this. So like, we're just here to have fun, bro. Like, it doesn't have to be formal. You can talk the way that you would talk to your friends about basketball here. Nobody's going to take no offense to it. If you need to call out some bullshit, say, hey, Hayes, you're bullshitting. Call out bullshit. That's what we do here. We are family here. That's the environment that we wanted to build and bring in this channel together. So you never have to worry about nothing of that. Let's have fun. This is what this is about, man. If you consider Nurse a lock, that means that they have 10 players with 190K cap space. Bantam and Jefferson are on guaranteed contracts for 95K for Rachel and 45K for Mo. I think they would have to buy them out. They would definitely have to buy them out. That's a great point. You bring a great point there. We only have one. Chanel says, one roster spot. We only have one roster spot. Who do you think will make it? That's a great. I haven't thought about that a lot yet because I wanted to see some of the preseason games. And I think it also comes down to Aisha, right? Kolibali, like if she's fully healthy and is going to be able to be on the final roster, which they drafted her, so that makes sense that she would be. That's a great question on who can make the final roster. Ask me that after a couple of preseason games, right? Because I think you can get an indication for that on how Tyler Marsh uses these ladies. I do think Tilly Bowler has a great opportunity to make the final roster. I think she has an amazing opportunity to do. I think the upside that she brings, scoring wise, putting the ball on the floor for a team that could need some isolation scoring could be really good. Um, so I think that could have a good chance, right? Kalabali will make it too. The way she talking about the way they've been showing her around, they didn't draft her just, and I agree with that. I agree with that. I think the only way that she doesn't make the roster if she's not fully healthy, which, like I said, per what we've heard, it seems like she's going to be maybe not in training camp, but she will be around the beginning of the season. With the personnel the Sky have at all positions, I really hope Marsh places a deep emphasis on defense. The talk can't be all shooting. Well, I think the talk is shooting in offense because the Sky have a good defense, right? Like the Sky didn't need to prove, like, let me not say they can improve defensively, absolutely. But defense was what put the Sky in a position most times than not last year. So I think when you hear things like shooting and offense is because that's the part that he had to really revolutionize. He can build off of what we did defensively last year, keep a lot of those same sensibilities with new players and things like that, and growth and development, and can build a lot off of that, right? The offense, I think Tyler Marsh had to come in and completely revamp the offense, not only because of having a point guard like Sloot, but also just because of the simple basketball things that the Sky didn't do well last season. So I think that's why you're hearing more of a conversation around the offense as it stands right now. That's just my personal. I don't know. I haven't been in the building. That's just my personal thought process on that. How does the pick swap formula work in the WNBA? For example, Sky have the pick swap with the Sun, but no first round pick of their own unless it's the Mercury pick they have as well. Um, yeah, I mean, no, the Sky, did the Sky not have their own first? I think they do have their own first round pick. But I mean, it's simple. Like whatever pick that they have, I don't remember if maybe it is the Mercury pick, but it's just a swap. So the Sky control the swap, so they decide if they're going to take the Suns pick or not next year. I'm really not new here. I've watched you on TV, on YouTube a lot of times, but I haven't comment. Oh, okay. Well, glad to have you returning, my boy. Glad to have you returning. There are two spots. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. But all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys. I gotta go cook dinner for the kiddos. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And making this is what it is. We'll have at least one more episode before the start of the season, but then of course we'll be live Friday. For those that don't know, for those that are new, on game days we do a pregame show, a live call with C Dub, who you guys, if you're new, you haven't met yet, but you'll see him sooner rather than later. A live call with C Dub, and then a live post game show. So we're live 3 times on game days: pregame, live call, post game show. So you guys be able to see us for that one, man. I love you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central at gmail.com. Then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on,